With next gen finally hitting the world next week with the release of the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, I got to thinking about the next gen version of GTA Online, which is scheduled to release in the second half of 2021. And while that is still nearly a year away, I feel that bringing up some of the issues with the current game and the state of it can start a conversation and potentially also have an impact on how this version will look like, because Rockstar does have the golden opportunity to do with GTA Online that it desperately needs: a big overhaul and/or revamp. Let's begin. First up, definitely is going to be the menus, because let's be honest about this. Rockstar's current approach of just put it there, edit, just edit on top of the list, just put it on there, okay, just stack it up, don't worry about it, it'll be fine, isn't really working out. To give some examples here, if you look at the interaction menu, it's a pretty decent step in the right direction. The most important stuff is there if you need it, and it's quickly accessible, and personally I don't really see much more improvement needed other than maybe moving the RC Bandito and the RC Tank to the Vehicles tab, because that makes more sense. And then also get rid of that annoying bug where sometimes the CEO and the MC options just simply don't show up and you have to try it a couple of times. The big one though for me is definitely the jobs menu. It's really messy at the moment, and yes, you guessed it, here come the adversary modes. Currently there are a total of 348 adversary modes jobs in the list, and that's a total of 50 adversary modes. If you want to play something like Power Play, for example, you will sit there scrolling through all this stuff for quite some time. The same goes for stunt races and missions, to give 2 other examples. There are 9 different stunt races and 5 different types of missions, and there's not really any sort of way to sort them. Now in the case of stunt races and missions, it's not as much of a big deal, but it still would be nice if we could, because it might surprise you to know that a feature like this actually already exists in the game since the very beginning. But you guessed it, it's only available to the mode that's been there from the beginning of the game, and the rest of the modes it was just simply left untouched. So something like races, for example, you can sort by land, sea and air, and other things in death matches you can sort out by vehicle matches, team death matches and regular death matches. And in the other modes, how about no? So for this reason I have a proposition to fix this issue. Very simple. Folders. All Rockstar would need to do to make everything a lot more manageable and clear would be by putting all the different maps in, let's say, the missile-based adversary modes, and put those into a folder. And then when you click on the folder, you get the 8 maps that you are looking for. This way you would eliminate all the unnecessary scrolling when you're just trying to find one specific job. The same goes for stunt races and missions. It's not as much of an issue in those categories, but it still would make everything a lot clearer and a lot easier to access, instead of having a giant pile of maps that's just sitting there taking up space and wasting your time. I do apologize for the scuffed footage, I just wanted to give you a visual idea of what I meant. Another thing that is really becoming a problem is the amount of cars I have. I have so many cars and so much money, it's simply unreal. And before you call me an arrogant prick in the comments, hear me out. There are currently over 70 sports cars in GTA Online. What if you own 40 of them and you want to race in that one specific car? Let's say the Sentinel Classic. No wait, actually I want to drive the Feltzer. No wait, well never mind, the time is up. Enjoy driving your Hot Ring Sabre. There's a few ways that you could potentially fix this issue. Rockstar could allow you to search up the name of the car, because that is obviously supported by both consoles and also PC. Sort by the first letter of the car, so let's say for example if you're looking for the Feltzer, you start with the F, and I don't think the brand name would particularly be a good idea because not everyone knows the brand name of their cars. Or you could potentially also make a list of the vehicles rather than having to go and scroll through all of them, and also allow us to skip the rows like you can inside of your online phone. Yes, in case you didn't know that, when you're going through your contacts list you can press left or right D-pad and you can skip a bunch of contacts and save yourself a bunch of time. And lastly, let us toggle between whether or not we also want to select the non-custom vehicles, so that way we can go from A to Z without having to worry about the other 17 non-custom sports cars. The voting system after each match definitely needs an overhaul too. Too many times I just try to play some regular old school Rockstar created races and get stunt races forced down my throat. And I don't know about you, but I prefer some dinner and compliments about how good I look before that type of stuff starts happening. I understand that Rockstar really wants us to check out the new stuff that they've added, but when I'm playing regular races, I would really like it if I continue to have multiple options to continue to play that same type of game mode. Older content seems to constantly be pushed aside for the new fancier toys, which is fine, but if I'm playing down the drain for old time's sake, I definitely don't want to play transform races. Not that I really want to play them in general because they're very long and drawn out, but that's beside the point. Rockstar's focus should be that the content that people want to play is accessible in an easy and quick way rather than having to go through many hoops and loops in order to get there like we currently have with the giant list of jobs that I mentioned before. There should be consistency with the content's accessibility across the board rather than having one mode being able to be sorted by different types of mode and the other just being a 5-minute scroll fest to get to the power play map that you want to play. So here's hoping that they will use the next-gen versions of the game as an opportunity to revamp the game and do some overhauls on existing systems and menus in the game, because I think we can all agree that the game definitely needs it. But those are just some of my thoughts. Of course, I would love to know what you think down in the comment section down below. Do you think that the current game is totally fine, or do you agree with me? Of course, I'd love to know in the comment section down below. But with all that said and with all that done, that was it for this one. Thank you also very much for watching. A huge thank you as always to my lovely members. If you wish to join them, then be sure to do so by clicking the join button down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and I'll see you all later.